Obsessive-compulsive disorder, just 3 words, but how can OCD in children make their lives and that of families so miserable? What would be my advice as a parent who's parented a child with OCD? What would be my advice to other parents who might find themselves in a similar situation? Here's 3 tips. Number 1, try and spot the early signs of OCD behaviours. This is something I failed to spot, and as a result I paid the price because OCD ended up controlling not just our daughter but the whole family. And the minute you think that your child may be displaying OCD symptoms, I mean, what are OCD behaviours? Common ones. It can be doing something over and over again, known as compulsions. That can include washing their hands, excessively showering, wiping surfaces down, counting, tapping, checking the existence of something. It can be in a number of forms, but it's basically where a child is doing something over and over again in the belief that it's going to calm their anxious thoughts. So that would be the first thing it would be to do, is to spot early signs and get it diagnosed straight away with the GP, who will then put you on a waiting list, especially if you're in the UK, and you'll be referred to people such as CAMS. Number 2, educate yourself on OCD. This may sound the most obvious thing to do, but this is something I failed to do. Like, for example, I didn't even realise that the disorder part of the illness was what made it so serious, in that thoughts get trapped and can't release, and that is what then results in these compulsions being carried out. So the best way to educate yourself on OCD in children and teenagers is to follow common hashtags, the popular ones on social media, because there are a lot of communities and people sharing really valuable advice that I wish that I had actually had access to when my daughter was diagnosed when she was 14. So follow popular hashtags, read popular blogs. I mean, I do blogs on OCD, and there are a number of other people who do blogs on OCD as well. Follow YouTube videos. Again, I've got my own YouTube channel. The link is in my bio if you want to check out my YouTube videos. So as I say, number 2 is to educate yourself. Number 3 is to start exposing your child to their greatest fears while you're waiting for therapy. What do I mean by this? It's what we call exposure response prevention therapy, ERP therapy for short. And basically what you do is start gradually exposing your child to one OCD issue at a time, very, very slowly, until they become less uncomfortable and result in not doing compulsions afterwards. So as I say, it's ERP therapy. Again, if you look at blogs and hashtags and other communities out there, people, including myself, share a lot of information on how to do this. So that's my 3 tips for helping a child with OCD and anxiety. As I say, number 1 is to look out for earlier warning signs and don't ignore them, because you'll do it to your cost. And if you feel that your child is displaying OCD behaviours, book an appointment with your GP and they'll refer you to a specialist. Okay, number 2 is to educate yourself by looking at what other people are posting out there. Professional people and people like myself, who are just parents who've gone through what you're going through. And number 3, start introducing exposure response prevention therapy. If you want to know more how I introduced and used ERP therapy, then I've actually written a workshop just for people like you. I wrote my workshop to help parents who may not know whether the child has got OCD and how to deal with it in the early stages, or for parents who are on a waiting list waiting for professional therapy and they want to do something in the meantime to start tackling OCD behaviours in their children. Why would you want to invest in my workshop? Well, you only have to pay a one-off cost. There's no hidden charges or upsells on there. I charge £45 purely because I've invested literally weeks and months of my life creating this to try and help other parents. Number 2, it shows you the therapy that I used over 4 years, because ERP therapy isn't a quick fix, what I did to enable my daughter to go on to live more of the life of her dreams, something we couldn't have imagined previously, including going on to study in London. So I've got that there all in one workshop for you. So I'm saving you the time and the expense of having to go out and search for it yourself, or having to pay for private therapy while you're waiting for the professional therapy from people like such as CAMS. I've tried to make it as easy to follow as possible. So I've tried to do it step by step, and I've broken it down into 3 different sections to try and make it manageable. I've also got pauses in the video so that you can then go ahead and carry out tasks that I've actually put there for you. I've included a workbook so that you can actually make yourself accountable and actually go through these procedures as I explain them. It's also covered by the teachable 30-day money back guarantee, meaning that, you know, if you don't like it, you can have a no obligation refund. I would ask you though, out of just decency, not to just watch the program, get value from it, and then just ask for your refund. Because as I say, I've invested lots of time and effort into creating this to try and help other parents. But obviously, if you do feel that it's of no benefit to you at all, then by all means use the money back guarantee. So that's it today on today's video on how to help a child with the OCD, Obsessive-Compulsive Disorder. If you found it useful, as I say, I'll pop the link for my workshop into the comments, and don't forget to subscribe and like. Okay, see you on the next video.